you know, that's the East Alabama, that's kind of the first day that's been mentioned. But Darren, explain to this group what the RFSI grant that ASAC has and the 3 partners, y'all been talking about partners, how all of that's going to work and how it fits into this aggregation discussion.
Yes, sir. So when we talk about the RFSI, that's Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Fund grant that they had. But ASAC, in partnership with Deep South, the BBMIC, and of course our cooperatives, we have an amazing opportunity for aggregation across the Black Belt. Working with Deep South, kind of in our western region, BBMIC being centralized, and also building a aggregation facility in East Alabama for produce to be stored, refrigerated stored, as well as freezer stored if it's processed here and then transported back. So we're looking to use that opportunity as our aggregation points, but also looking to install infrastructure on some of on-farm cool storage for farmers. Because now, you know, I know one of the issues, really I can go back to that corn, to working with Glenn a few years back. One of the biggest issues that we had, like I said, we were just starting out, it was our first opportunity. But one of the issues we had was, if I'm pulling corn in the morning, unless he's coming to get it that same morning, I don't have anywhere to store it. And I can't let it go through a heat and start sweating. So I gotta figure out something. Or I'm gonna be out here all day pulling corn. So, you know, being able to install some of these on-farm cool storage systems is a way for that farmer to go out in the morning and pull, go out in the afternoon and pull, and maybe go pull some more that next morning, and then we're picking up a load. Because it still has to be feasible for that transportation to make it come. They don't want to come pick up just them 2 boxes. He's not gonna waste his time for that. It's not gonna economically make sense. So installing these systems, as well as working with the larger aggregation points across the Black Belt, gives a whole different opportunity for farmers in no matter where they are surrounding these areas, because there's gonna be trucks going and coming one way or the other. All it is now, when we talk about that network and that education around what does that need to schedule, how does that scheduling need to look? And we're not just saying the scheduling around when to pick it up, but it's also scheduling when to plant, when to harvest. You know, if we're gonna look at really making this thing viable and something that's gonna generate wealth, we don't need to have 100,000 pounds of watermelons all coming off in the same week. But that's gonna drive the market down, and now everybody getting a quarter for their watermelon. But if we have these conversations and these settings around working with your community to say, well, I'm planting this week, you can plant in 2 weeks, you plant in 2 weeks. You know, by no means are we trying to encourage anybody to miss that planting window. We all know it's a certain time to plant and a certain time to harvest. We just got to be very strategic about how we're doing it. So, like I say, working with your collectives, working through your aggregation point, we don't need, again, them 100,000 pounds of watermelons all sitting off in the BBMIC. Maybe we need to get them down to Florida. Maybe we need to get them over to West Alabama. That's the type of opportunities that we're looking to build with this. So thank you, Don. But that RFSI program or that grant there is going to definitely give us the opportunity to do this, hopefully starting this year, but definitely should be online with it by next year.
Another thing too, I want to throw in that a lot of time and I get on the young folk that work with me back at the facility, is that you got to be forward thinkers. See, opportunity gonna come to you just sitting still. You got to be innovators. And a lot of times we wait too late. You got to go in your back pocket. Like the blues song said, gonna hear a man holler asking for a dollar. Then he'll holler. If you're too scared to go in your back pocket, you at the wrong meeting. You're gonna have to go in your back pocket. You got to.
Not to change in the front pocket.
And you got to be a visionary. Several years ago, y'all cut me off when time hit. When I was selling that in Mississippi to the schools there, we started off I had to go in and meet with the Department of Ag, the Department of Education, and clean up the past history of groups I tried to help in the Mississippi Delta because they dropped the ball. All right? Now, later, when you go to the meeting, the first thing I gotta do is figure out who got the checkbook. Don't look at them. It's kind of put you, like Spark do, you do a mind map with them. That way you know when you got a chance now. So the lady with the money, she wasn't saying nothing. I'm up there talking, so ended up coming, they gave us opportunity to sell that year for like $63,000. And so we did a good job. So she finally got it chumming up, got talking to her. So she talked to a company in the Mississippi Delta, they had local sweet corn, but they didn't process sweet corn. So she called me and said, Glenn, can y'all process sweet corn? Well, I said yes. I wouldn't want to let the opportunity get by. I just had to figure out how to do it once I hung the phone up. So I had just bought a machine for $62,000, but it was for cutting green. So I called a guy, and then the analyst said, the machine was set to cut up to 1.5 inches, variable speed. I said, well, can we get it to 3 inches? Because the car batch needs to be 3 inches. He said, yeah, we can get it 3 inches. You got to put another wheel on it. Well, that wheel cost $5,000 just for the wheel. So I got the wheel and put it on them. Well, here I am, I'm still trying to think. I said, well, the only way to get the corn processed, and we talking about we had an order for like 3,000 cases of carbettes. So we hired about 15 to 20 people to come in the room, and all of us sit around, we shuck corn. Shucked it, took the sick off and all that good stuff, and I ran through the machine, processed it, and we made it through. I said, man, this ain't gonna work here much longer. Because you can see your labor force next year ain't gonna be that like that. So then my brain had to kick in. So I said, well, how could I process this sweet corn? How could I cut it up faster? So I went to bed, I woke up and said, okay, I got it. So I had to build me a table. I called it a Flintstone model. It was pure rustic. So I built the table, I built a long table. We put some pegs in it, and we put the corn in the pegs like this. We could put about 2 bushels of corn in the pegs. And the table was about this wide. It had a slot here where the corn stick out, and another slot where the corn stick out over the slot. So I had one guy with a skill saw on that end, and another guy with a skill saw on this end. So when we load up, just he'll cut the corn, the tip off, and the other guy come through the middle, he'll cut it in hand like that. It worked. But the market demand got greater. So I built the next time I took my old conveyor that I had, that had a motor to it, we put pegs in it. I'm gonna show you how you got to think to be innovative to even aggregate. So that machine worked. But it still had flaws in it because it wasn't a commercial machine. So now I'm thinking, we can't pull corn next year. But this is gonna be too much work because of that. So we had to go out, and this is part of aggregation. I think this is what we got to, like Andrew was saying, as a collective, we got to look at this. We got to stop duplicating processes and duplicate products. Forget about the process, think about the product. So I said, okay, what I got to do now, I'm going to have to go out, I'm going to find me a sweet corn harvesting machine. So I found one. I had a broker in North Dakota. He said, Glenn? I said, yeah. I said, I got you one. Ain't one left in the whole country. I said, I got to have it. He said, I said, where's it at? He said, it's in Boise, Oklahoma. I said, I ain't never heard of that place. So I went on the map. I'm from Mississippi, so I was in Durant. I looked at it. It was 1,000 miles from where I was at to where that machine is. All right? So first of all, I had to give him $40,000. I wasn't going nowhere. He got that because they going brand new machine. They used it one time and parked in the shed. So my wife and I, we took my F-350 Ford. I'm a Ford man. And my gooseneck, and my cousin, and we took off to Bossier City, Oklahoma. We drove up there, made it up there in the middle of the night, called the farmers, said, Glenn, if you want to, you can come on get it, we can load you up tonight. Went up there and loaded it up and brought it back home. And boy, we can done so it. We can pull up some sweet corn now. That's a part of aggregation. Because beforehand, we did a project with Windrock International, what they call a value chain project. It takes too long. I can't go to your farm and wait till you pull corn. Can't do it. I gotta be able to go there. I got a very limited time to get it back in the processor, or get it to the market. And so, but now I'm stuck. Now I got more corn coming out the field than I can process, because the Flintstone can't go so fast. So this year we went out and invested in a commercial sweet corn harvester. Processing line. It can do 3 bushels a minute. You cut the end, cut it in half, vibrates it, shuck it off, ready to go in the bag. But now, I'm not telling everybody they should do that, but if we go out and develop markets, that same harvester can get on back to Gooseneck, drive to Andrew farm, pick his corn. So if Andrew got a refrigerated truck or whoever, I don't have to bring mine. He just trail me back on. His farm will pay. You see what I'm saying? And so last year, I said, well, I'm tired of driving to Georgia to get collard greens when we short. I said, we got too much land. Well, see, Georgia had one thing that we don't have. They still got a little bit of labor force left. See, once you leave Alabama, once you get to Montgomery, hand labor, you can forget that. You ain't gonna find that no more. You go to Mississippi, they're starting to shoot you. They definitely ain't gonna cut you by hand. See, South Georgia, you got it. But they getting old now. And so we went, and I called around, we found a machine that'll harvest turnips, it'll harvest collards, it'll harvest herbs. I said, well, how much? $72,000. Gosh, my God. I said, well, to my wife, I gotta have it. It was in Syracuse, New York. Got my 40-foot gooseneck and my phone, and I went to Syracuse. I picked the machine up. Now, when you buy something in blind, you don't know how it works, but you know you need it. So I brought it back home. It works fine. But it was designed for a big farmer, like out in California. I can go out in the harvest a 53-foot truckload of collard green in less than an hour. What can y'all do with that? You can't process that here. So it worked fine, but we found some flaws. So I called a guy back. I said, look, we need to redesign this machine. He said, what do you mean, Glenn? I said, well, we need to design it just like my corn harvester did. It need to come out the back of the machine and throw to the side of the machine. Because by the side of the machine, you need 2 tractors. And you gotta have, most small farm field ain't that big. So then you're struggling with land space. He said, okay, I'll think about it. But next thing I know, I get a phone call. We got to redesign. He showed, I said, that look good there. I said, you want to trade? He said, So I had to buy that machine. That was $76,000. So I'm going to invest in that. But now, we at a point now to where if we work collectively, now we can do some damage. Because now we can go out there, because see, manpower, and like with Ag Market Serving and most of the USDA program, they don't do production. You can buy me all the processing equipment you want, but I can't get it out the field. I ain't worth a hill of beans. And that's gonna be, when I aggregate, I got a choice. I can call this guy in Georgia and tell him I need 200 dozen. Guess what he gonna tell me? Come in the morning about 9 o'clock, we got it. But if I call a small farm over here, it may be 3 months before I get it. So for him to stay in the game, we got to take care of that field. The processing, we got that down pat now. But if I'm gonna keep the next generation like my man here in the game, he gonna have to modernize in the field, and you're gonna have to get a uniform crop production. Forget about all this medical marijuana, all that. That's what ain't gonna be able to be. The big man got that. We need peas, we need greens, and stuff like that. And we need to, and that's another thing. After that, I'm gonna close it out. We bought a one-row pea harvester, get this folks, 25 years ago, trying to convince us to go to mechanical harvest. Oh, I ain't gonna do that. I won't get one harvest off my pea. So what? Let's plant more of them. Go to the machine, go through there, plant this mid. You know how much peas is now a bushel?
Yes.
$50 a bushel. And the bushel don't weigh 8 pounds no more. It weighs 7 pounds. You know why? Because they can't find them out the pit. And the migrant workers done caught on. You gotta pay them, buddy. So guess what? That old harvester is sitting there waiting. I can go out there and I can pick 300-400 bushels a day with that one row harvester. So in order for us to do what we're talking about here today, to do the aggregation, the aggregators got to tell the farmer, this is what we got to have. If they don't have it, then the aggregator got to get that and have it and say, look, if you plant greens, Mr. Bowler, you don't have to worry about cutting them, I'm gonna cut them. Now last year, he saw my Flintstone model I had last, they laughed at it. Remember I had that lawnmower light, and I put a sickle on it, a hedge cutter? When I got there, they were laughing. But when I left, they wanted to buy it. Because they didn't want to be over and cut no more. But yeah, but I forgot to bring it up when we were talking. We got to get a uniform production, and we got to get mechanical harvesting. Forget about hand harvesting. That's ship and sale. That dog won't hunt no more. You know, you can't do it. I'm not gonna do it no more. Because you can't get it out the field fast enough. And then when you get through, you burn out. Then all your young help, you done ran it off. Because they ain't gonna do it. So look at mechanical harvesting and uniform production.
Yeah. Well,